Hi guys, I'm Darren and welcome to the next video in the Simplify OpenTX series. Today we'll be wrapping up our initial look at logical switches by covering the A to B functions and the delta functions. So let's get on with it. That'll do. Welcome back guys, so let's jump straight into OpenTX and have a quick look. So we've got our model already. So what we're going to look at today is the last 5 functions down here. Now the A to B I'm only going to cover very briefly because in all honesty they work in the same way as the A to X functions. The only difference is that we have instead of having a switch, so let's say SA, and then a value for that switch, we also have another thing in here. So if I put that to say SC, this would be now if SA and SE are both in the same position, logical switch 1 will activate. So I can show you that running. So we can see they're both in the middle. As soon as one of them comes out, logical switch 1 deactivates. And if I put them both in the same position again, then it deactivates. So it's a, you know, they're really simple switches, the same as the initial A to X functions, and they work the same way. So what we're going to look at now is if it's greater than, so if C is in a greater position than A, it will activate. Now I can't remember which way around it is that way. So it's activated because it's it's got a higher value than A, and all the time it's lower or equal to, it will not be that active. And the reverse is true. So now if it's less than, it will work. So as you can see there, it's quite a simple set of switches. And I'd say if you really want a more thorough breakdown, have a look at the A to X video, which are these switches at the top. And you can see there's more of them, but the A equals X, A greater than X, and A less than X are all work the same way as these B switches. So it was hard to think of an example for this because, to be honest, I've never actually used them on a transmitter yet. But one thing that we could do, which should work, is if we say find our speed telemetry, wherever it is. So we've got ground speed here. So if ground speed is equal to ground speed plus so because it hasn't got a plus symbol, this is the current ground speed that's coming back from telemetry. The one with a plus symbol is the highest value it's been. So if that equals that, it's a new highest speed effectively. So what we can then do is if logical switch 1 is active, we can read out the new highest speed. So it's just a really simple example. As I say, there's not really a lot I could think of at this point in time that would use it. So we set that to G speed plus
0 miles per hour.
So there we go. I don't actually know how this is going to work, the plus. I guess I'm just going to have to put a speed in. So we'll set this to 40 kilometers an hour and then go back down and then back up. Maybe it'll read it out.
24.8
yes.
miles per hour.
So as you see, as the speed increases, if you drop back down and then
25.
break that speed, it will read out the new current top speed. But it's just a small example. Again, I've not actually used these, but at least you'll know how they work. Right, so the next one, or the next pair of switches, again, they're very similar. So if you remember up here with the A to X, we had these two. It's very similar to how they work for this. So what we've got here is delta greater than equals X is how it's written out. But what that basically means is you can set something in here. So for this for example, I'll set it to the, I want to use the throttle. So we use the throttle, and then what we can do is put a value in here for how much the throttle changes. So if it changes by, say, 20, it will trigger this. So what we can do is we set up a logical switch or a special function. We'll just do a beep or something like that. There we go. So if I go in the simulator, we have our throttle. If I can move it continuously, when it gets past 20 in the difference, so that would be like minus 100 to minus 80, and again to minus 60, minus 40, and so on. So every time it has a positive increase of 20 in the same movement, it will beep. And you'll notice that it's only on the way up. So you can actually see the value here, just below here. Okay, so it resets when it comes back the opposite way. So that's how it works. That's all well and good, but what if you wanted it to come down? Well, all you need to do is put a negative in there, and now it will work backwards. So it doesn't matter how much you move it up, but when you move it down by 20, it will beep. So that's how they work. You can go up as much as you want and down. So as an example for that, what I thought was, if say you have an altimeter, like a vario on a glider or something, and you want to know when you've dropped from your point. So say you've climbed up to 400 feet, and then you want to know when you've dropped 100 feet. What you could do is we'll set this up on the altitude, and then we could set it to, it's in meters, so if we say minus 50 meters. So this is a working example. And again, if you wanted it to when you've gone up by 50 meters, you just get rid of the negative. So again, I'll need the telemetry. And where's our altitude? There it is. So at the moment we're at 0. So if we go up to 25, nothing. If we go up to 51, maybe you need to be doing it. Oh, sorry, we need to go down, don't we? So if we go 60, and then if we go 5, there we go. We've dropped that 50 meters. So the beep sounded. So we can use it as a guide for getting from our maximum height down to when we've dropped by 50 meters or whatever we've set it to. So that's a working example. But what if you wanted it in both ways? That's when this one comes in with the delta in the brackets. So what we can do now is set it to 50 meters. And whether we go up or down by 50 meters, it will beep. So we could go up to 110, it's beeped. Go down to 70. I don't know why that beeped. Oh, 7, but type in the first number in, isn't it? Okay, so then if we went up to, well, we went down to 10. Sorry, it's hard to show on this because as soon as I type the first number in, it beeps. So if we change that bot, I don't know, but you can see how it's working. If we pop that back up from 10 to say 80, it knows we've gone up by that 50 meters or greater, so it's beeped. So it's a shame it doesn't accept it till you press enter. That would be a good thing to have. Right, so that's basically how all these delta functions work, and this was a small example. I mean, personally, if I was doing it with these beeps, I'd probably use this one, and then you can separate it out into a plus and a negative and have a different sound for each one. Or you could just do that one, say, I don't know, 60 meters is about 200 feet, isn't it? So if we do 30 meters, it's about 100 feet. And then what you could again do is, instead of playing the sound, play the value and find your altitude. So if we simulate this, and if we put this up to 120,
119 meters.
there we go. So that is the delta functions. Again, this is a pretty short video. I couldn't really think of many examples for them, but hopefully you can understand how these things are working. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll answer them the best I can, or make follow-up videos if we need to. But for the time being, that is it for logical switches. So coming up, what we'll do is we'll have a brief overview of special functions, and then we'll take it from there. We can look at mixes, inputs, whatever. We can do actual logical switch function programming. So if there's a specific task that you want to perform, we can actually come up with the logical switches to do that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please like the video, and if you found it useful, subscribing and clicking the bell icon will get you notifications when the next videos are out. I'll be probably taking a little break from the Simplify OpenTX so we can get some of the flight controller stuff done. So I've got a list of stuff to get started on that. But if you do want something, please leave a comment and I'll see what I can do to get it in the lineup of videos. If you didn't find the video useful or whatever, please put a thumbs down. But if you do, please leave a comment to why you put the thumbs down, so that I can learn from my mistakes. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you have a great time. Get out there, fly your models like you stole them, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you. Bye.